Okay, I forgot to point this out last time, but I'm totally wearing like some kind of Star Wars outfit. You see this weird shirt with only one sleeve? Star Wars outfit. Alana's dressed normal. Okay, what was I talking about?
Coolering.
The cooler. No, I was going to talk about Japan deforestation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of cultures that have collapsed in history. Many of them collapsed because of deforestation. So what they would do is they would start cutting down all the trees to build buildings, and then the soil wouldn't be held in place, and then they couldn't farm anymore. So a lot of cultures did this where they just deforested themselves to death. Like they think that might have happened to the Mayans. They think that might have happened to the Cahokians. Oh, there's my friend Kern, rocket scientist. He's visiting from St. Louis. Anyway, they think that might have happened to the Mayans. They think it might have happened to the Cahokians who were like in the mound center of Cahokia Mountains around 1000 AD, around St. Louis. Like, there's a bunch of examples of people. Oh, Easter Island is another one where they probably deforested themselves to death. Here is the difference between Japan and all of those other cultures. The rich people built things out of wood. That is the difference. Whereas in all these other cultures where they deforested themselves, the rich people were building stuff out of stone. So they didn't notice that the trees were going away. However, in Japan, the rich people were building all their palaces out of wood. So they were like, oh man, trees are hard to get these days. Maybe we should plant some trees. And so they did, and it was the first anti-deforestation movement in history. I don't remember what year it was because I'm pretty drunk right now, but apparently they saved themselves from deforestation because they built, and if you look up like Castle Himeji, Hemiji, that it's a castle built out of wood that the Japanese nobility built, but they noticed that the trees were gone. Like, because they were like, whoa, we need this wood to build our castles. Blah, blah, blah. Whereas, like, the medieval Europeans are like, we don't need wood, we have stone. You know, and then the medieval Europeans are all like, let's try to build even higher and higher cathedrals, but we burned the libraries, so we don't know how to make concrete. So they're just going to fall down. So, like, the higher and higher they built the cathedrals, the more likely they were to fall down. There was one in France that, like, killed 150 people when it fell down because they were just trying to, like, stack rocks. Computer screen went away. Okay, they're just trying to stack rocks, like, in an arch, and guess what? They don't have concrete or cement, so it just falls apart and kills, like, 150 people. Japan was smarter than that. They know how to build out of wood. And they realized that the wood was being depleted because they needed the wood to build their castles. So, anyway, Japan saved themselves from deforestation. Easter Island is another interesting example of deforestation because paleoanthropologists have found evidence of trees being on Easter Island. Now there are no trees on Easter Island. And it looks like what happened was, you know those big moe heads they would raise, like the big faces of stone? Like they would make rope out of wood fiber and use it to drag the Easter Island statues upright, but they never paid attention, or they would build canoes out of the wood, but they never paid attention to the fact that, you know, like, we're running out of trees, and this is a small island. So, like, I always like to think when they cut the last tree down, because when the Europeans came in, there were no trees left. When they cut the last tree down, they're all like, well, science will save us. It didn't. End of transmission.